Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for some more Cosmonarchy, and that means it's time for more Askosi versus Askosi. Don't worry, we won't be amused and immersed in the what would you call it? The mirror matchup ball pit. We won't be in that position for that much longer, but I got this game and one more Askosi versus Askosi game to cast, and then we'll be moving on to some non-mirror matchups and eventually even some non-Askosi matchups. I know, you guys probably don't even believe me, but we got Doglived in the bottom right. Oh no, this is actually Vilius. Vilius in the bottom right is our, I'm just going to call him red. But of course he is yellow, because the joke is they're both yellow. That's why their cameras are going to be a little bit weird, and their names are going to be a little bit weird. But don't worry, we're going to be keeping track of them the old-fashioned way with Shift-Tab. Yeah, I think there's something weird about the map. Obviously, the computers are still here. Like, we haven't fixed that yet. After the Alexander Shambler cast, this game was played, I think, around the same time. Might have even been earlier. But anyway, it was played around the same time. So, yeah, those fixes haven't been made it into the map yet. And apparently another side effect of the map is that you'll sometimes have the same color. So some configuration details need to be figured out. But I mean, would you have it any other way? I mean, the map is a little jank, and then the race is a little jank still because they're not fully implemented, all that good stuff. We have Vilius hanging out here with his missionary, and he should be just fine. It looks like he wants to go for a fast landlock. As you can see, that icon not quite fixed yet, but we do get to that later on in time. And yeah, just a slow streamline of missionaries out of the radix while the function gets made, but no tech just yet for Doglived, our more experienced Askosi player, while Vilius is just rocking and rolling on the one radix and starting to harvest a little bit of S-Beam from the geyser. You can see the same is obviously true for Doglived, as he's already building his function, which does require some Vespene. And there it is. The Gauntlet is going to be our first tech of choice. So I like this because it does give you the option for some more aggressive technology. In an Askosi mirror, you don't worry as much about what they might be able to do to you in the early game. At least so far, right? People are figuring out some details about how they're going to approach things, and they haven't quite settled on it just yet. But, you know, I expect that to change pretty consistently, pretty frequently as time goes on. There will be, there will definitely be some very, like, when people go back to look at it, like they're looking at the etymology. Oh, he's talking about the abutment, most likely. It's a gas structure. You can build it over the geyser. Or maybe he's just talking about the bounty, which is also pretty epic, but not needed right now. Not needed right this moment. But yeah, when people go back and look as like forensic science or whatever, they're just trying to figure out, how did the Askosi come to be? When you see these casts and then you see how they look in like half a year or whatever, it is going to look very different, not just in terms of what players do, but also functionally, like what they look like visually. They're going to be better articulated in terms of their visuals and all sorts of stuff like that. So I look forward to seeing it in action. I do think that they need some color work in particular and some shading work and stuff, but also they need custom models for damn near everything. You know, we've got the Pilgrim, but it's just a kit bash I did. We got the Missionary, it's just a kit bash I did. Same for the Intendant, you know, nothing too significant there. But we'll see how these two players entertain us despite the visuals not being fully there just yet. So the Cypher is on the way, and that is going to be the second half of Tier 2 for Vilius. Tier 2 access, I should say. It also allows you to get the Mimic from your Radix, and from the function, and allows you to get your Scepter, which is there to steal away as many enemy corpses as you can. Now, Vilius doesn't have a Radix, or doesn't have a function yet. He's going for his third Radix. We got a second function for Doglived. I've noticed that some people are really liking Mech for Askosi. I also noticed that a lot of people are mixing and matching the Biotic and the Mech, which is pretty cool. It's, you know, somewhat like what I was thinking would happen. There's nifty little things like when you're embedded units, like the Object, the Scepter, the Tirade, when they embed into the ground because they've been taking fatal damage, you can still move them with the Vicar, which is actually the unit here that, if anybody remembers the old idle graphic, the placeholder idle graphic, yeah, I ended up recoloring it and using it for the Vicar. The old Golem graphic is used for the Cardinal as well, so it's pretty funny that they ended up finding new life, recycled and reused, just like the Askosi for that matter. And yeah, the Vicar has an active ability that pulls units towards it. So you can kind of pull it around, reposition it even after it's been immobilized, which is, you know, just a little nifty interaction. I do want to point out that as Intendants are coming out for Doglived, he's also adding air. He's got the Cosmoscope, and the Dyad is even assisting with this assembly, so that will take much much less time than typical. Oh, we canceled the arch. Oh, I think that might actually... There's a bug right now where you can't resume construction on the arch, so he might have accidentally done that. And now he needs to construct it manually. That's the abutment. Don't mind the fact that it has no name. That's going to be a gas structure there. And the initial attacks is in. Splash damage here for Doglived, courtesy of the Intendants. It needs to be focused down by those Vicars post-haste. They're the only thing that can really handle all the armor on that sucker. Also, they're pretty clumped up, so it's pretty dangerous. It's like a knife fight right now, which is sort of how you would imagine Askosi fights would go. They don't have the most durability on their units. And the little, running retreat along with the automatic secondary weapon shooting, it's pretty good for the Intendants. We're seeing all that splash damage really come into focus, and look at this, another little waypoint coming in for Doglived as he tries to press the issue. Now, the Vicars are going to come back around, and they should be able to focus down the individual Intendants. We have the Pilgrims being pulled just to see if they can withstand this attack a little bit. Turns out not quite, at least not yet. They're going to be cycling backwards. And Vilius actually has a worker lead over Doglived, so it's okay if he loses a few. But the critical thing is, can he actually stay alive? And as these missionaries come in, pretty clutch to keep the Vicars from being focused down there. Just absorbing the initial impact. Focus fire from Doglived could have maybe won the day. His first tirade has hit the deck. It is going to be coming out here pretty soon for Doglived. A lot of radixes. A lot of Vicars as well. The Vicar Missionary is the composition here for Vilius. He has the Cypher. We'll see if he adds any Mimics. Mostly good for keeping your army topped up on the front line. And a Chantry on the way to try to restore his poor beleaguered Vicars and Missionaries in the process. A Chantry on the other side for Doglived as well. He doesn't have that many units to restore, but he will be able to restore the Intendants as soon as they stop wiggling around sillily. Sillily is definitely not a word, by the way, but I have assembled it. I have managed to make that a word. I say that all the time. Reminds me of syllogism. Yeah. An abutment number 2 for Vilius as he's capping his gas in the main base. And adding a Cosmoscope. So he will be going for the air. Tirade already on the way, 2 of them. Moving into the direction of where Vilius wishes they would least go. He doesn't actually have a lot of units that can respond to this just yet. He's got a lot of Pilgrims that he's using for general construction. Again, the worker lead is up pretty high for Vilius, so it's pretty... he needs to get up there post-haste, and he's not doing it. He's taking a very long time. He wants to make sure that Doglived equalizes the workers. So he didn't evacuate his workers, and he didn't attack in response to that. So that's a little dire, but that's okay. Looks like the tirades will escape, of course. Exactly what you would expect. And now, get some Helions, my man. Do it. Now, Tirade can attack air, but I might consider making them not able to attack air units, just to give them a little bit more of a weakness. Really, right now, they are a bit overstated. I won't deny it. However, a big reason why is because their passive doesn't work yet. So once I fix that up, the Tirade will see a balanced tweak. I don't like that Vilius evacuated all the workers in his main base. He's also not making any more. Like, where are his workers? Half of his workers are off here to the side. He's going to use them to build more structures and stuff, I guess. But yeah, his natural is completely vacated. That's a little bit awkward. Third base on the way here for Doglived, it looks like. And he's got the Scepter as well. A couple of Scepters over there. A little bit of guard dogging going on. I think he's got his Dyad stuck. That's a little unfortunate if so, but maybe not. Might just have lost track of it. You know, when you're first learning the race, it's hard to remember what everything looks like sometimes too, so... Obviously, we'll improve the visuals of things over time, but yeah. There's the first Helion. It has arrived. I actually just finished recording unit responses for it earlier today, so we're not going to hear them because we're not time travelers and we're not playing the game as with the Helion, but it's good to have. It does mean that the tirades will actually provide scrap for Vilius, so he's actually making money off of killing them, which is very cool. And the Scepters are off to the side over here. We got a little bit more going on for Doglived than we do for Vilius, but his Vicar count is still very good, so he shouldn't actually be too worried about getting owned immediately. The problem is more with what's the writing on the wall, economically speaking. Doglived up 12 workers, by the way, and increasing that lead. Watching over at the 3 o'clock position for a third base. He just came from 6 o'clock as well with a rotation of units, so he has pretty good confidence that that was not occupied. You know, you can kind of intuit that based on Vilius' army movement as well. We're just adding more and more Helions to try to defeat the Tirades, but actually there's not so many of them even being produced. There's only one Cosmoscope, so they're mostly there to get a little bit of that worker raid earlier, and which definitely did the job. But also going a step further, they are there to force you to build some anti-air, and Vilius is doing exactly that with the Helions. But after there's no air units, what do you even use these for, right? Nothing right now. So I don't think that will be of supreme utility to him just yet. But he does have some Helions, it has to be said. And the Vicars are pushing forward. There's a deployed Scepter that just got domed immediately. Did claim a missionary, it looks like. Now he's going to try to leave across the bridge. The anti-timing here is pretty significant. The Helions can double back to try to deal with the Tirades. They move way faster, so they should be able to catch him just fine. Also, there's a couple over here anyway. You can see him using them right now for scouting, but he hasn't realized that, hey, there's yellow on the map, and it isn't me. I'm under attack. The Helions will be doubled over pretty soon, I'm sure, but he's pulling the entire army back instead of being able to pressure. I feel like that army could have done a lot of damage. Now he's trying to figure out what he wants to even do here, but he's down 30 workers in the process. That'll be it for some of these initial units, but now the counterattack is going to come out, and I mean, Vilius just hasn't actually found where his opponent is. So now he starts to double back because his ground army is in attack. Oh no! Outmaneuvered. This army would absolutely lose to what Vilius has produced, but it doesn't need to do that if it's not facing what Vilius has produced. As the bridge comes through as a bit of an angle, might end up extending play here because I actually think Doglived will get owned, his army-wise. He has the 4 intendants at least, but not so sure about anything else initially. That's going to be very useful going into the actual combat. The Vicars should actually be able to finish this off, yeah. The Scepters are deceptively tanky, but as long as those intendants eventually go down, I don't think it's a huge issue. Scrapping more and more of the Askosi units, though. It's a scrap fest over here, that's for sure. Helion scrapping Tirades, Scepters scrapping Vicars. Gimme all those resources. And, well, Doglived has 4,000 minerals to bank, so he can definitely do some more there. Chantry and 4 grandstands, all in the cannon module. And he even built one over here to deny construction at the 3 o'clock. Hasn't been procced yet, but it will when these pilgrims arrive. Again, the army of Vilius is really scary. If he can move across the map, he should actually be able to finish the job on Doglived here. But how cost efficient are these trades going to be for Doglived? He has the Scepters to try to sort of even the odds economically, and he has got a superior income anyway. Now the Tirades arrive to start taking out the abutment. I don't think that's going to work out very well for him. Vicars are chewing through what's here for Doglived. The Scepters, though, absorbing a lot of the pressure, and there's no front line anymore to backline for the Vicars, to put the Vicars into the more defensive backline position. Some Vicars on the other side for Doglived as well, finishing the job, and it looks like the army has been crushed. Oh no, everything has gone downhill here, and Vilius will concede after that. GG. So again, we're not seeing some of the more hit and run oriented tactics in every single path, and I think it'll become a little bit more obvious that Askosi need to do that a bit more versus races that are not actually Askosi. But I do want to just throw out there, it was interesting to see the way that Vilius approached the matchup by trying to build a lot of Vicars and get a very potent army. And the Scepters, deceptively tanky for sure. Obviously, it'll be easier to tell that they're tanky when they have a better model that more speaks to their role, and then also have a different deployed status. So we'll see about how that one ends up looking. But I'm excited, guys. I'm excited to see Askosi versus Askosi. I'm excited to see people play in the 4th race and having some fun with it. I hope you guys had fun with that video. We'll be back with another Askosi versus Askosi match tomorrow, and then after that, probably something different. You'll have to stay tuned. Subscribe if you're not already. Donate on the coffee page if you want to support project development, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.